when she was on TV, it was actually really funny to watch her because she was very spontaneous and it was live television. And back then, like she was one of the first women chefs to be on TV, and they had VCRs then. So they would tape her shows, but most of her shows were live. So she would be like dropping stuff. Her famous one was a potato pancake, and she had to have the courage and conviction. And she dropped it, and she was like, "When no one's in the kitchen, who's to see? No one's to tell." Like she was very much a comedian on TV. And just yes, she was. To break it down a little bit for your worksheet, because she introduced French cooking to America through her cookbooks and shows. She was yes, that one. And in the mid 20th century to the beginning of the 21st century, she served the American middle class through her shows. She didn't have a restaurant of her own. And that was in America and France because of her school. She served on television and through her cookbooks, and her contributions for the cuisine.
Cuisine, bourgeois.
Thank you very much. French cuisine. She brought French cuisine to America. She was one of the first women chefs of her day, and she introduced gastronomy. She actually was one of the first ones to bring it as a degree program to the U.S. or to anywhere. So we can thank her for this class. And the American Food and Wine Institute, like I said. And during that time, what were a couple of inventions that you would say impacted your life?
Oh my. Back in the good old days, we had these giant sieves and we had these bowls where we wanted to puree potatoes or anything of that nature. It would take about 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours. The children are so lucky. You have the quiz, you have the RoboCube. So what would take us 2 to 3 hours could take you 38 seconds. I actually appreciated the IBM ThinkPad. That was beautiful. I could do everything from flights and car or on train. Let's see, the VCR, the TV. I remember watching all the
James Beard.
He was a very close friend of mine, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a good man. So was MFK Fisher. We did a lot of writings together. So those are just a few of my favorites.
Thank you very much. We're going to show you guys a picture or a number of clips from your shows. Are you making it? That one.
I like McDonald's. I think they're very careful if they, I think if they have you buy a franchise, I think you only have a certain amount of it. You're in charge and they have their standards and so forth. And I thought when they first started out, the French fries were very good. And then the nutritionists happened that it turned out to be erroneous that beef tallow fat was bad, and that